In the next few minutes, I'll show you more cougars than you have likely ever seen in one video, including some behaviors with calls and chases. It's one of the most amazing collections of Mount St. Helens videos that you'll ever see. I'm John, and I explore the Gifford Pinchot Forest with my bloodhounds Calamity Jane, Elton John, and friends. We record wildlife videos with nearly 75 trail cameras now, and we capture some really amazing behavior. It's a passion and a curiosity for nature and the outdoors. Cougars have many names. Cougar is probably the most common out here, but also mountain lion. In the south, you hear puma a lot, or panther. Catamount is also another one that's used. And in fact, cougars hold the Guinness record for the animal with the most names. It's not uncommon for cougars to have one or two kittens in the litter. It's not rare anymore to see 3 or more. It's unusual, but it happens. I've been real lucky to get these 3 on camera many times over the last year. Later on in this video, you'll see them when they're basically newborns, just the size of house cats. They've got tawny colored bodies when they're born. They've got spots on them to help them hide, but lose them after about 10 months. Yes, that high-pitched bird-like sound is this cougar calling. This is something I think you're going to find fascinating. I have heard cougars require anywhere from 40 to 60 or 70 large prey animals a year to survive. That's an amazing amount. When I say large size, I'm talking about deer. That is a lot of meat, and they can really, like house cats in your neighborhood, some are a lot more effective at getting things. This is amazing video and quite a discovery and realization by myself. You usually think of cats as being very visual and hunting, and canines is, they're able to trail and use their scent. They're known for that. But you watch this, and this cougar is actually trailing by scent where this deer went last. Just never really thought about cats that way, but she is clearly on the scent trail of this doe. Cougars primarily eat deer, but they also eat elk, moose, mountain goats, wild sheep, raccoons, coyotes, rabbits, hares, small rodents, and occasionally your pets and your livestock. They're great hunters. You know, I was very fortunate to get this cougar hunting this deer during the daytime because they're most active in their hunting from dusk to dawn. They also sometimes will travel and hunt during the day, but it's just lucky that I've caught it on my trail cameras. They'll also, when food is not plentiful, they'll travel some great distances. This particular female and her cubs, I've got them at least 5 miles apart on 5 or 6 different trail cameras. So some of you may be asking yourself, well, wait a minute here. These are really elusive animals, and you know, most people go throughout their whole life without seeing one, or you might run into somebody that's in the woods a lot that have seen one or two. How in the world do I have so many videos, so many cats on trail cameras? And there's a kind of an easy explanation for that. The first part of that is I have a lot of trail cameras. I probably have around 75 trail cameras, and I put them in places specifically to get predators because the lions are fascinating, the bears are fascinating, and they do go in different places than the ungulates, than the deer and the elk. Obviously they cross because that's what the cougars like to eat, especially the deer. But they're usually off to the side. They're along the edges of the clear cuts. They are ambush predators. So if you think in terms of setting a trail camera, a camera trap to capture them, think in terms of ambushing. And that's what the cats do. So there's a lot of discussion amongst people of how big these cats really are. Lots and lots of people say, well, I saw a 200-pounder. Well, it's pretty rare. I'm sure there are some 200-pound Tom, which is a male cat, cougar out there, but that's pretty rare. Most adult cougars are around 150. A big one's going to be 175 pounds, and but they're large. When you look at my videos and you see my bloodhounds on there, If you go back and see Wyatt, he was 140-pound bloodhound. Well, these things are longer and about the same height and bigger, and obviously they're very ferocious. They take down, deer that are larger than themselves, and they take down elk, which can be 600 pounds. The way they do that is they get a hold of the head, the face, the throat, and hang on. It's a stranglehold until their prey, gives up, and that's how they do it. That is how they do it. Okay, let's talk about how agile these things are. They have like 4-foot tails. They're like rudders and help them jump and steer and run and climb fast. But what is amazing is how they can jump. I looked up, I Googled it, and it said that a cougar can jump horizontally 40 to 45 feet. That is amazing. Now, I'm going to tell you, reading it and seeing it are two different things. I want to tell you a story here. I was coming back to the cabin. I had my headlights on, and it was the point where, it's too dark. You got to have your headlights on, but you can still kind of see in the road. And what I thought was a deer at first was standing in the middle of the road, right across from our cabin entrance, and it was facing towards the cabin entrance. I slow down, hit the brakes, and I see it's a cougar, and it's straddling what would, if there was a line there, the middle of the road, the stripe. There wasn't one there, but if it was straddling that. Now it sees me, it's in the headlights, and it's sprung up. And it sprung up, it must have been 15 to 20 feet in the air backwards, and flew over half of the road, an equal amount of distance over a ditch, and landed in the fire station parking lot on the other side of that ditch. Unbelievable how athletic this thing was. I pull in real quick to try to get my headlights on it to see where it was, and it had already gone up the cliff that was behind the fire station, so I didn't get a second glance at it. But facing one way, it jumps up 15-20 feet backwards and clears, I'm gonna say, half of the road and the ditch. It must have been close to 15 yards. Amazing athletic ability. I'm going to tell you another story about how sneaky these things are. Over 10 years ago, when I was doing trail cameras with Bucky, my Labrador, there was a trail camera that I had left up higher elevation, couldn't get to it, it snowed, had to wait till the spring melt off to get it, and so Bucky and I go in the snow when it got low enough to get in there, looking for the trail cameras. So looking all over the place, I finally find it, and I set a couple more on the way out. But I pulled out an old camera, and I'm talking to the camera, doing a little narration thing. Oh, I see the elk are back up here. The snow must be low enough. Oh, I see there's some cat tracks. These are cat tracks, and looks like a big bobcat, maybe a small cougar. And all of a sudden, I wasn't really paying attention to Bucky. He was off leash. He comes running up to me, hustling, tail between his leg, spins around and sets up. And I'm like, hey, and I'm still recording video on myself. Oh, did you see something, Bucky? What did you see up there? What spooked you? You want to go over there? And he's like, he's just looking. He's all excited, like, oh, you obviously saw something. And I just kept going along. And so this is where it gets really interesting. We go back in 2 or 3 weeks later, and I pull the cards off the new trail cameras that I had set in there. Bucky absolutely saw something. He saw a big mountain lion, came running back over to protect me, and he stayed right by my side. And that mountain lion actually trailed us. We have pictures. I wasn't doing video then. We have pictures of that mountain lion at 3 different trail camera stations. I made a video about it. If you go way back on my channel and find it, it's called Mountain Lion or Cougar Trails Us Out, and it followed us the whole way. And you see pictures of it peeking over the snow mounds right behind us. How many times do you think that happens and we have no idea? That's one story. I've got another one for you. But that was proof positive. That's what that thing was doing. So I think they're watching us and looking at us all the time. And as stealthy as they are, thank goodness they don't look at us like deer and try to take us out, because they are very, very stealthy. I've got a few cougar mountain lion videos exclusive that are on the channel. There's the one I just talked about, that cougar tracking us out. I think it's called Mountain Lion on Our Trail or something like that. Anyway, you can find that. There's another one where this cougar actually chewed up, bit, and broke my trail camera. That's another whole video. That's amazing. I know I've never had one do that before, but I got video from the trail camera perspective of this thing coming right up and chewing on it. It poked a hole in the PIR sensor, passive infrared sensor part of it, and broke off a latch, and that was different. Used to be the bears. The elk are probably the most abusive on my cameras, and now I got cougars too. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But anyway, look for those if you enjoy what you're seeing here, and that is some very, very interesting behavior. Yeah, all joking aside, how many cougars are in Washington State? The 4-legged variety. So I went ahead and I looked it up, and it says the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, WDFW, estimates that there are around 2,400 cougars in Washington State. This estimate is based on population density, research, and the amount of suitable cougar habitat in the state. I honestly think they really don't have any idea how in the world you would get a good count on these. Kind of like the bears, it's just random. It's just random. There's a whole lot more out there than we realize. They are extremely stealthy, and there are some pockets of higher density at times because of the food source, like probably right around my cabin right now. This is unusual. So people ask me, what do you think you should do when you see a cougar. And that's really simple for me. It's you analyze what the cougar's intents are, and if he probably sees you first and he's coming in, I would shout and get large and do all the things that you read about, and then secondly, I would shoot it, because they are that dangerous. Just shoot it before it gets you. Now, I'm absolutely positive that's going to raise a few eyebrows, but that's kind of how I feel about it. Now, I've been approached by cougars before, and we did not do that. There's another video that you can search and find on my channel where my friend Sean and I had canine Wyatt, which is my 140-pound search and rescue dog, and he had his dog Apollo, which is a about 100-pound lab, and they were just barking and howling and making a ruckus. And I'm sure that this big lion heard us coming up the mountain, because our dogs were making such a ruckus. It was probably the loudest I think we've ever been. It's the middle of the day. We get to a point where there's a big berm, like a cliff on one side, and I'm setting a camera, and this mountain lion came to the edge and was staring at the dogs and at Sean, not at me. I mean, it was absolutely within leaping range, and the dogs were making such a racket then and pointing in the same direction that Sean looked up and saw it, and he pulled his pistol out for protection and hollered at me, and I came down and pulled mine out for protection, and it slithered off. I think it slithered off because we knew it was there. Thank goodness the dogs, had it targeted and had Sean look over there, and thank goodness we were prepared, but we weren't out there to shoot a mountain lion. We were out there just pulling trail cameras, and hopefully we get some video of him. He slinked off. We didn't do anything about it. Watch the video. He actually ends up what looks like maybe in a tree a little bit farther back. And we went on and pulled trail camera cards and actually got video of two very big palm mountain lions in that area. So I'm sure it was one of those guys, but treat them seriously, because they are serious predators.